Welcome back to the Retic Rebellion Podcast. This is Liam with Levi and Bill. And tonight we have Patrick from Graceful Serpents. How you doing?
Pretty good, boss. Graceful Exotics, but we're
Graceful
doing pretty
Exotics.
good.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, boss. You're good.
My bad. I could have sworn I saw it, but it didn't pull up fast enough for me, so I just kind of winged it.
No, you're good, boss. I mean, it's very similar.
Yeah. I think it was the Scarletto, and my brain was just like, I see an S. Let's just say serpents. All right. Cool. All righty. Well, look at you. Big facility, man. Look at that. Look at that.
I mean, we all started somewhere, right?
Yeah, you're living the dream now, though, brother. You made it.
We're there, you know. We're still making it, you know. I look at it that way, is that every day is progress.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That is awesome. What's up, Joey? How's everyone doing tonight?
Lee, I'll let you lead this one, because I mean, me and Patrick go way back.
Okay. Well, shoot. I know this is Retics versus BOAS, but let's get to know a little bit about you. When did you get into reptiles? Which ones do you start with? Which ones are you working with now?
Awesome. So we'll start way back in the day when I was a little kid. We all liked dinosaurs, right? And that's where it started with me. I liked dinosaurs when I was a kid. One guy came to my school one day with some big snakes, and it really drew my attention towards reptiles. I got my first corn snake when I was 12. I'm 37 now. I was off and on with reptiles all the way until my 20s. When I turned about 26, I started getting real heavy back into reptiles. Well, no, I'd say about 23. I got real heavy into reptiles. I started breeding leopard geckos first. And then I got my first boa, I want to say back in 2012. And, you know, it's just one of those things. I got my first boa and I was like, this is it. This is the snake that I'm just in love with. And I started with one. And then, you know, I bought my first one in 2014 to raise and breed. We had our first litter in 2018, and I've been breeding since. And then from there, we just escalated. We started in a bedroom in 2019. I started with 15 snakes. Now I have a facility and we have over 500 snakes. You know, we work with multiple species, but hands down, boas are my favorite. We got roughly around 200 boa constrictors. This whole wall right here behind me is all boa constrictors. There's no other species on this wall. This is a 40-foot wall, and easily on this wall alone, I have about 150 boa constrictors. So, and that's where we started, and I love them. They're hands down my favorite species. They're middle-sized snakes. So, you know, if you don't want that, you know, 10, 15 foot snake, but you don't want that 3-4 foot snake, and you want that 6 to 8 foot snake, that's where these guys play a good factor in.
Yeah. Nice. Are you do you chase morphs and like the next morph, or are you a locality guy, or a little bit of both? Like, I'm not super big into boas. I know it's like blown up since I was into boas. I had a giant female when I got into things when I was 18. I was into reptiles when I was super young, but when I tried to do the breeding thing at 18, I had a big ass red tail boa, and I was trying to do the sun glow shit or whatever. You know, there wasn't a crazy amount of stuff, and localities weren't like crazy big. I mean, they were out there, but they weren't like huge. So
right. So for me, I'm more of a morph guy, and a lot of morphs are based off of Colombian. You know, you got your localities, BI, BC, BCO. So you got your localities. I'm more of a mutation guy. I love my mutations. I love my patterns and colors. And that's same for me. The first snake I ever bought in 2014 was a sharp sunglow. And from there, my passion just grew. I've always loved sunglow. I probably got more sunglows than anything. Almost everything got sunglow. Now, or almost everything's got hypo and albino involved in it. But that's hands down. And then we went from working from just mainly sharp to where now in the last couple of years we expanded. We have everything. We have Central Americans. We have super fire Central Americans, T positives. We have, which is a dwarf species. They'll probably only get about 4 feet. And then I have anything from VPIs to calls to sharps, and then any kind of mutation you can think of in between. We have IMGs, Celtic, Key West. We have Arabisc. We have jungle, motley. We just anything almost you can think of with BOAS. We have it. As far as being able to play with it and work it into a project. So
I know everyone here is going to be really surprised when I say this, but I'm a big fan of the anery stuff. The BOAS. These guys,
we love the anery.
They're shocked. They're shocked and surprised. They cannot believe it. But I love the anery stuff, the ghost stuff. Like that was when I was getting like one of the snakes that attracted me when I was younger, like 18, trying to get into it was like the ghost boa. I love those. I was trying to find one. There was one at a reptile shop, and I just didn't get it at the time, and I always regret it because it was a pretty good looking one.
Oh yeah, we got ghosts. I got a normal anery. I got anery hypo, which is a ghost. We got a lot of albino stuff that's het anery. I got a project that I'm working on right now. I got a female that's triple het. So she's 100% het sharp, 100% het anery, and 100% het blood. I just watched Jason. He just hit the world's first, I believe it was the world's first blood snow glow. And that's what I built this project off of to eventually in 3 years to make a sharp snow glow blood, which I think would be phenomenal looking. But that's the end game. But I love anery. I got it in a lot of my stuff is either het anery or 50% pos het anery. But I'm a huge fan of the anery myself. It's plugged into a lot of my projects.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, and forgive me, guys. I'm probably going to let him go on for a bit, but I just want to understand. Can you explain to me, because your guys' morphs and stuff are pretty wild. You have like type B, type C, type ZF, and type Z, XY, 24, like anery types and stuff like that. Like, can you break down like what is compatible, what isn't compatible? Like, is there like, it seems very, very complicated.
So for me, there's your basic aneries. You got anery type 1, anery type 2, and then you got black-eyed aneries. Which black-eyed aneries and anery type 2 is not compatible with anything else from my understanding. All my stuff in my building is type 1 anery. So I stick to one type of anery, which is type 1. I prefer not to mix it, just because I have so much stuff involved in my type 1. But you're absolutely right. You got black-eyed anery, you got type anery type 2, which if you breed to a sharp, you'll make a blizzard. And then if you breed type 1 to a sharp, you'll make snows and snow glows. And then you got the black-eyed anery, which now is getting involved with the VIP, which they're making the carbon stuff with, which is really cool. But the black-eyed anery stuff is really cool. Me personally, I've always liked the look of the type 1. There's just different varieties and different shades of it. Like I got an anery here that is probably about 14 years old, and she's what I call a classic anery. So she's like really dark. Like aneries back in the day, they were really dark, but now people have line bred them so much to where type 1 aneries, like you got the CV line aneries, or the silver bullet aneries, where they're really light complected. So people were able to line breed them over the years and able to get lighter colored aneries. So now you just don't have that dark stuff, but that's where black-eyed aneries coming from. If you like the dark aneries with the black eyes, that's where you're going to play with the black-eyed aneries. Okay. Type 2 aneries, they're a little bit on the darker side as well. And just depending on if you're working with newer aneries or older aneries with the type 1 on what your quality, it all comes down to being line bred, honestly, with the quality of the aneries as well.
Okay. And so I guess with that, because they're not compatible, you could, I guess, technically stack them. Like you could stack a type 1 and a type 2.
I wouldn't. I mean, just that'd be like breeding a sharp to a call, right? Like you want to stay away from that. Me personally, I stay away from that kind of stuff. If it's not compatible, I stay away from it. Just to keep everything pure and to keep any kind of confusion coming from my projects. I always try to keep things as in order as I can, just because I like to work projects, and projects take years with BOAs, right? So you're minimum breeding a female at 3.5 years old, and that's minimum. Some people even say that's too young, but my females are anywhere from 3.5 to 5 years old when I'm breeding them. So when it comes to projects, I'm very particular, and I'm very like picky about what I'm pairing to what, just because of the time and the effort that goes into these guys. So if it don't make sense, I don't pair it. I don't breed just to breed. I breed for quality, I breed for lineage, and I breed for to make just beautiful animals overall. And projects, projects are my number one goal every time I do a pairing. So there's got to be a motive behind it. It's not just pairing two animals to pair them. So that's where a lot of that stuff comes in. People are like, oh, I'm going to take this and breed it to this. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had to in the beginning to see if it was compatible, right? Because we didn't have shed testing or anything like that, years ago when it all came out. But a lot of people did test breeding. They were starting to realize, hey, this is not compatible with this. Let's not do that, and that's good, because now we know as breeders now in the future, like, hey, we can be very cautious about what we pair to what, and just be very selective. I call it selective breeding. So I'm a very selective breeder when it comes to what I'm pairing in quality. So
what was that world's first you said in the chat today, that beautiful snake you showed?
Yeah, so that is a male that I produced last year. He is a world's first paradigm, which is BOAS caramel, which is a T positive. When you breed a BOAS caramel to a sharp, it's compatible. It's a T positive to a T negative, and they're actually compatible with each other. And they make a BOAS, or they make a paradigm or a paraglow if you add hypo to it. So he is basically a double. So that is what they call a double het visual. So a paradigm is basically a double het that is visual for sharp and BOAS caramel together. It gives the animal of a caramel look to it. So that is a paradigm, Motley, Jungle, Key West, 50% pos het type 1 entry.
Amazing.
Hell yeah. Hey, it's like our lavender. It's like a lilac type situation.
Yes. And that's how hypo and Motley is too. They're saying that hypo and Motley, when you breed a hypo to a Motley, you'll never make hypo Motley's unless both parents have a copy of the hypo. So if you breed a Motley to a hypo, then they're going to break in half, right? So you'll get half Motley's, half hypos. The only way to ever make hypo Motley's is if both parents carry the hypo gene, and then one of them has Motley. Then you can make hypo Motley's. Some people say that you can never make a super form. I'm still working on that. Some people say it's very impossible. I did a pairing where I paired Motley to a super hypo, and I'm pretty sure I made a super hypo Motley, but it was Celtic. Sorry, it was Celtic. I did that with. So you can't do that, but it was Celtic that they were saying was a lilac with hypo as well, and that you can't make a single gene with it. So, but I think that's a little iffy on that conversation right there. Still some work to be done with that.
Is the BOA hypo a codom or a recessive gene?
Incomplete. It's incomplete. Yeah, because you can make a super form with hypo. So when you bring a hypo to a hypo, it completes itself by the super form.
I don't like super hypos. I think hypo just by itself is pretty fucking solid.
It is, me personally, and this is just, again, everything I ever say tonight is just personal, like in my opinion, what I feel, what I've done. Me personally, I'm trying to get away from the hypo, especially with like pattern mutations, because like Motley, Celtic, Key West, when you start putting hypo to that stuff, it starts breaking the pattern and it starts distorting it. When I breed my patterns, I'm trying to make my patterns as solid as I can. So you want to eliminate hypo out of that, because when you start adding hypo to those genetics, or when you start adding hypo to those projects, they're going to start chopping up your patterns, and they're going to start distorting them. They're going to start breaking them. You're not going to get the clean ladder tail that you would get on a normal Key West or Celtic. When you pair them, you're going to start getting, normal tail patterns, and then you're going to start getting thinner patterns, thinner lines on the backs, which for me, I like my solid pattern stuff. So I'm trying to keep that stuff solid, trying to make my lines thicker, bolder, more pronounced. So hypo is a good way. Like, you got to get rid of the hypo to be able to make those patterns more pronounced when you're breeding for that stuff.
I agree. I don't like how much stuff has hypo now too. I feel like
Everything does. Everything
hypo
has
just like
hypo.
flooded.
Yes.
Hypo
Yes.
flooded BOAs, bro. Like you
I
can't
agree.
find shit without hypo in it, and
It's hard.
it's a cool.
Hard.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Hypo's badass. You can do some sick shit with it, but like you had all these other genetics floating around out there, and everybody went hypo.
Hypo.
And
Yep.
there's just like you said, Celtic. Like I feel like Celtic was so slept on.
Oh,
Dude, you weren't
It's
kidding.
still. I would argue it still is.
You aren't kidding.
I got
There's
Celtic
like
stuff.
1,000 hypos on
Mhm.
North Market.
Oh,
It's like
everything.
more than double the next one.
Yep. And I'm trying to eliminate that in my projects, and it's hard because a lot of my stuff has hypo. So like I even had females that are super hypo, and I started selling them off. And for the simple fact is, everything I ever paired to them, everything's going to be hypo because they're super hypo. So to eliminate that, I've already started removing anything in my collection that's super hypo to eliminate making all hypo. So now I get my 50-50, right? So now anything that I breed that has hypo, only 50% of the babies should technically have hypo. That gives me the odds of hitting a Key West or a Celtic without hypo. And then those are the ones I hold back, raise up, and try to breed to non-hypo. So, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to remove all the hypo in certain, not all of it, but in certain projects, because hypo does help with color enhancement. It does help with color. It does, add color to the animals. So if you're working a colored project, hypo is perfect. But if you're working a pattern project, me personally, I'm trying to remove that to make my patterns more bold and more pronounced. As I said earlier, get those thicker lines, get those lines, those ladder toes that come with Key West and Celtic and stuff like that. And the only way to get that stuff is to remove the hypo, because it'll start breaking the animal down as it goes into the tail part of the body.
That's interesting. You don't hear that like angle very often of trying to remove a morph out of your project.
No, for sure.
It's like everyone's always like, I'm trying to work that one in. I'm trying to work that in. I gotta
Right.
Like, people don't realize it's also very hard to like get a certain morph out of your collection too.
It is
dominant
very
morph,
hard.
Dominant in your collection. Like it's a different perspective for sure.
It is.
You can argue that happened with Golden Child and Retics. Like for a while, you couldn't find a goddamn thing without Golden Child in it.
Hey, that's true. That's true.
Hold on. Let me specify this. In the mainlands, not necessarily the super dwarfs.
No,
two
super
different
dwarfs
fucking
too.
markets.
No, super dwarfs too. I mean, I would say there's probably like a lot of people did Golden Child super dwarfs. They were pretty close. I mean, the rumor and thought was like they came from a dwarf island to begin with, that morph, when they found it. That's the rumor. So there was a lot of that weird history. Like if it was a Golden Child, it's a dwarf or something like that, because they were a little bit on the smaller end when they came in. But yeah, no, Golden Child got bred into super dwarf pretty heavily. Just codom were incomplete, so it
right
to get in there.
And that's where it's easy, right? Like anything like IMG. Let's take IMG for an example, right? It's co-dominant, so like anything you breed to it, half of everything is going to be IMG from that litter, right? So everybody wanted to get IMG into everything, and it was easy because but anything that's incomplete or co-dom, it's very easy to add into every project. It's recessives. That's why now I'm trying to work on triple reset. I got a project that's triple recessive right now. Like I got sharp albinos that are double hit Henry bloods. Like that's the projects I'm starting to aim for. I would love to get hypo into that just because I want to add color to the sharp snow globe with the blood. I want to see what that's going to do. So there's some projects I still want my hypo in, but when it comes to they're like my pattern projects, that's what I'm trying to remove it from. So that's what I talk about being about selective on what I'm pairing, what I'm trying to make, the goals I'm aiming for. And that's how I've always been ever since I got into breeding. I've been breeding BOAs for 7 years now, straight, consistently, like not taking a break. 7 years straight, I've been producing BOAs. And I get just excited every year seeing a litter, and I'm like, man, it's like you get to work with these animals and make living art. Like you get to be a part of, hey, I got to breed that and produce that. You know what I mean? And it's just such a great feeling when you get to see an animal. Like I got some VPI junglos right now. I'm just like, it's insane. Like it's living art. Like they got zigzags and the colors are really, just amazing. And when I see that stuff, I'm like, man, what a blessing it is to be able to work with animals and make living art like that. But also it just comes down to selective. The better selective you are on your projects, the better quality stuff you're going to make. And let's just put it out there. Quality is not cheap. Anybody that knows quality is not cheap. You're going to pay for quality. It's just the name of the game. It doesn't matter if it's just a really nice jungle. If it's high quality, you're going to pay probably $150 more than you would a normal jungle. And that's how I base my pricing. When I sell my stuff, people are like, how do you base your price? And I said, I look at other stuff and I base price off quality, availability, and then the rarity of it. You know what I mean? So that stuff all plays a factor in how I price my animals when I sell them. But the end game is to make quality above quantity every single time. That's always the end game.
Nice.
Yeah. That's we were just having that conversation. There are communities that can focus better on that. And I mean, it stemmed from the Nick Mutton conversation with MJ. TJ talked about it. Like carpets really focus on that, right? Like carpets are the main, I would say the main community that really pushes that mentality.
Right.
And other communities could follow suit and really, really focus on like, you can have golden child, but do you have the best example of golden child? Or
exactly.
If you have IMG, do you have the best example of IMG? But to get us back on track as a fun comparison, I think BOAs are the only other snake out there that can do a morph combination that we can do with Retics and making a jet black snake.
Absolutely. That's where Molly IMG comes in hand, which I have one here in my facility. I produced her 5 years ago. And everybody that I ever show her to, they're like, oh my gosh, man, that snake is dope. You know, like she was a trophy snake. I produced her 5 years ago. I always wanted a Molly IMG. And then I produced her in an insane litter. Like the litter that I produced that year was just crazy. And I held her back and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to breed her and raise her up and breed her for projects. And she never got really big. Her mom was never really big. So sometimes I feel that plays a role too. Like I obviously feed all my animals the same. Some just grow bigger than others. It's just the reality of it when it comes to BOAs. Not every BOA is going to get 6-7 feet. This girl is roughly about 5.5 foot, but she's 5 years old. She's already mature. She's gravid right now. She don't look like she's going to have a big litter. I'll be grateful for anything she gives me. But I did pair her to a Labyrinth, 100% head anery, 100% head sharp. And then she's an IMG Motley double head anery sharp. So last year I bred her and I made a couple, they were stillborns, unfortunately, but they were, two of them were anery Labyrinths. And then two of them were, I want to believe, were sharp snow Labyrinths, IMGs. And then they were both stillborns. I did end up with one live baby, and it ended up being a Motley Sharp Albino Labyrinth 66 pos head anery, which I believe is going to prove out because that dude has some really pink eyes. And the only time I see eyes pink like that is when anery is floating around in there, or if it's a visual. My Sharp Snow Glow, she's got pink eyes. So, but it was a really exciting combo for me to be able to work that in. But IMG Molly's hands down. I think they're a lot of people's favorites. You know, but I also love my white stuff too. So you got your super fires. I got a super fire that's solid white, and then I got a IMG Molly that's solid black. So, you know, I got my white and black BOA. You know, those were, when I first seen super fires, I was like, one day I'm gonna own one of those. And I'm telling you, the first opportunity I got, I bought one. So, you know, but it's just so much to do with BOAs, and there's just so many combinations and cool stuff you can do with this. So.
See, and it's cool that you brought up the super fire because I was going to use that as the next. You can do the opposite. Retics can't do that. We don't have something that can hold a candle to a super fire.
Right.
Super Phantom.
It doesn't hold a fucking candle to the super fire. It nowhere near as white. The eyes look better.
Solid white, and it's a blue eyes. It's pretty dope.
It's a blue-eyed
beg to
Lucy.
differ. Yeah, but it's in a retic, so it's huge.
It's huge, but it's not.
That's
it's
true.
Still got a yellow haze to it. I'm telling you.
No, they don't.
Have you ever seen
you're
a
thinking
super
of a
fire?
cow.
Have you
You're
ever
thinking
seen
of
a
a cow.
super fire in person? A blue-eyed Lucy fucking ball python doesn't hold a fucking candle to a super fire.
Well, that's because it's a ball python. Nothing does. I mean, it doesn't hold. It doesn't hold.
Yeah,
a rock
see, this
to
is
anything.
favoritism. This is literally the
It
definition of
doesn't hold. It
favoritism.
doesn't hold rock to anything.
This is just favoritism.
No, like a golden child cow or like a super phantom, they're as white as you can get. With just blue eyes, but I think your super fires have black eyes. Yes,
They do. That is correct.
Yeah.
Ours have black
that
eyes.
makes them different. Yeah. Our black-eyed Lucy's are fatal.
Oh, the day they make a blue-eyed Lucy, let me tell you, in a boa, I will own one of those too.
Yeah.
So, but not even just like
there
what.
we go.
What happened?
My man. I knew I was gonna have backup on that. I knew I was gonna have backup on that. But yes, of course, I'm always gonna have the Retics back. It's pretty much the only things I own. I have like three other snakes that aren't Retics, and yeah, of course, always Retics.
And that's how I started with boas. 7 years ago when I started breeding, when we started building the collection 8-9 years ago, it was all boas. That's all I ever owned. Until recently, about 4 years ago, I started branching out. I do got a handful of ball pythons. I do love some of my ball python projects. There's a handful of ball pythons I have, but then I have bull snakes, false water cobras. I started falling in love with other stuff, but boas are always going to be my number one focus. They're always going to be my number one love when it comes to snakes. But I love my colubrids. I do enjoy breeding some ball pythons. I actually got a clutch that's getting ready to hatch in about 2 or 3 days. And speaking of super fires, I should be hatching out some solid white ball pythons with black eyes. I should be hatching out some super fire ball pythons. So, but I like working with a little bit of everything. It just keeps that variety there, and it keeps your knowledge too. I'm just constantly gaining knowledge over, not just boas, but other species, how to care for them, how to breed for them, mutations. But again, it's always going to fall back to boas are my number one love for sure. I got more of them than anything in my building. I probably got way more money invested into my boas I have way more money invested into my boas than anything else. But my boas is where it's at. I love them. Like I love my other stuff too, but boas are always going to be number one for me, hands down. So,
Yeah.
So, a burning hot question for you as far as boas go and variety. Do you work with the localities and other species of boas that are out there?
The only locality I work with, if it was, I would say would be Central American. That's it. Everything else is Colombian. Almost 90, I'd say 93% of my stuff is Colombian, which is, all the mutations. And then I got a handful of Central American stuff. Sorry. A lot of my super fire stuff with the boas, the whites, they're all Central American. So anything that I produce solid white with right now or the next couple of years is all going to be Central American. So they're going to stay about 4 feet. So that's probably the only, I would say it's a locality. It's a type of locality. But it's more of a dwarf than anything. I won't say it's more of a dwarf. But that's probably the only thing I work with outside of the Colombian mutations.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's your biggest boa or biggest female, like biggest boa, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care the gender.
She's probably about 7 feet, 7.5 feet, and she's probably roughly 40 pounds. She's huge. And I've had her for about 5 or 6 years now.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nice to have a versus with like another at least biggish snake. You can.
Oh, for sure.
Throw the size. You can throw the size thing out with Retics, but I think like everyone kind of knows like having a 16, 18 foot Retic, like that's a job to get it there. It's pretty typical. Not every single one's a monster. And then of course, we have us. We work with the dwarf and super dwarf, so we're not working with the monsters really, anyways. So it's nice to kind of have that size thing taken out and really kind of go off of keeping, breeding, care, and morphs.
And that's why we jumped to Central American stuff. And I barely started dialing in and collecting Central Americans 2 years ago. That's when I bought my first super fire. And then after that, we ended up gaining. I produced my first Central Americans last year. And that's why I like them, because they are on the smaller side. Some people are like, hey, I want a boa. And this is going to kind of compare to you guys with the super dwarf stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are like, hey, I want a boa, but I don't want 7 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet. Because some boas can, like Surnames and Guyanams, they can get up to 10 to 12 feet. They can get big. And the Colombians, they stay more on the smaller side, 6. I do see some at 8 foot, but that's very rare. Most of Colombians I see are anywhere from 6 to 7 feet. But then now you got your Central Americans, right, that are 4 feet. I got a female that's 7 years old, 8 years old, 2-time proven female, and she's 4 foot. And she's very small. She's eating like medium to large rats, so she's not even, where some of my boas can eat rabbit, because they're just monstrous. But it kind of just gives people that variety of boas as well. Like, hey, you don't want a big boa? Here's one that's only going to get 4 foot. I can show you mom and dad. Mom and dad are right here. These are Central Americans. Not only are they dwarfs, though, but they got some crazy colors. Like, some of these things got oranges and pinks. And, like, oh, my gosh, man. I was like, I slept on Central Americans. I was like, where have I been? Like, because I started getting Central Americans. I was like, some of these things can, like, literally – like compare or even like match with some of the mutations we have on the floor right now, as far as their colors and the just the quality of them.
Isn't Central American, correct me if I'm wrong, I this is right around the time I got out of boas, isn't the Central American where they found the pie sided, or is that Colombian?
I think that was Mexico where they found the pie. That's what they're claiming. That it was
pie sided.
The pied sided. That the only pied boas I know were found in Mexico.
Okay, I'm not talking like the traditional pied pattern. I think it was was it Michael that posted
Capital Constrictors, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, it was. I think he called them a pied, but I mean traditionally pied is more of a side pattern thing, anyways.
I believe he had a ghost. I believe that was a ghost that just had really high white walls.
Okay. And then
if I'm correct.
Then, okay, and then the traditional, like what's become more traditional pied pattern that's the one that came out of, that's the Sonoran bow or Sonoran.
That's the Mexican. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. But you want to go.
Yet?
Dude, that's a rabbit hole to go down, bro, because there's a lot of controversy about that, right? Like, a lot of people are calling that a scam. Like, when they first got the pies, right, they were selling the heads, I believe, for like 25 grand. It was crazy. It was a high number. They were selling the heads. Some of those people bought those heads, bred them, and never got pies. But now we're seeing people breed them and producing pies. So what they think has happened is that the people bred the pies, kept the actual head pies, and sold fake heads for really high-end money. And then now that they're trying to sell the pies, everybody's like, hey, dude, you're a scammer. Like, there was some scamness going on in there for sure. They weren't completely being honest about the project in the beginning. I do know 2 people personally that have pies. Not going to say names, not going to do anything like that. But I know no, I wish. But I know people that have pies, and I'm telling you right now, it's a real deal. The pies are real. The pies and boas is a real deal. But
all right. Fuck the bullshit. Hold on. Fuck the bullshit. When are you gonna get your hands on them? That's what I want to know.
When they're not $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, bro.
Because I want one. Damn it.
I do too, but it's probably gonna be a good 10 years. Oh man. You're definitely going to have deep pockets. And I say that with all honesty, bro. When it comes, I think the pies that they're trying to sell right now, they're asking like $70,000 for it, bro. So it's insane. It's $70,000 for pies right now from what I'm talking to people. So it's insane. Well, you think about it, the first pied berm sold in the United States for what, 50 grand? So, I mean, look at the pied berms that when they first came out, I believe the first one sold for 50 grand, if I'm not mistaken. So, but then they declined very fast. And I don't think boas are going to do that because they hold their value more. And then they just take longer to breed. So I think the pied boas are going to hold their value a lot more, and it's going to take a little bit longer for the price to come down on those guys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, how big are your guys' litters? Like, I know like some like big females can have some monster litters, and of course that's like the shit you always hear about. But like typically, you have 150 females or 100 females or whatever. So like, what is a typical litter size like for
my typical litter sizes are anywhere from 18 to 25. Okay. 18 to 25 on an average size female. Now I do get litters. Like this year was a little rough because my temperatures were off in my building. So what I'm going to do in October when breeding season comes, I'm going to dial in on my temperatures a lot more. Typically, I cycle my building at 75 degrees during the winter, 72 to 75. I like to keep it on the lower end because females start building their follicles the most when it starts getting cooler. Also, feeding can help that. People say spraying can help that. I just cycle the temperatures in my building. I didn't do that last year, and I did have kind of a crummy season this year. I still got some babies. I think I got 5 or 6 litters, but some of my litters were 6 babies. Some of my litters were 12 babies, you know. Some of my litters were 19 babies. Some of my litters were 18 babies. So on average, my average BOA from an adult female is anywhere from 18 to 25 babies on average.
Yeah. Okay. It's not, I mean, it's like right in the ballpark with like kind of what we're around. So it's not nothing crazy.
Nah. And the
Obviously,
thing is
have big numbers.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, I got a BOA here. Like my big girl, if she ends up going, she can easily give me 40 to 45 babies, without a doubt. Her first litter was like 30 babies, and that was 2-3 years ago. I haven't bred her since. If I was to breed her now, I guarantee you she can give me up to 40 to 45 babies, no problem. So
yeah, apotheosis easily would drop 50 eggs, I'm pretty sure. Easily.
How'd you do with copper? I forgot to ask you.
I haven't paired them yet.
No?
I'm going to pair them. I wanted to give it a few days after that show, and she's in shed.
I gotcha.
You know, I will say, Patrick, one of my bigger regrets throughout the years has probably been getting out of BOAs.
they're fun, bro. I don't think I could ever sum a whole collection up, bro. I mean, I downsized to be able to like focus more on certain projects. Like I've gotten rid of stuff just to be able to like focus more on certain projects. But yeah, dude, it's something I don't think, I don't know, man. I love them.
No, I agree with you. I'll let you tackle that one, Patrick. I love your perspective on this comment. Live birth does seem to be pretty convenient.
Live birth is amazing. Some people don't like I'd go TikTok live. Like I got a TikTok, and I will go TikTok live anytime I would have babies. And I do it every year. I've done it the last 3 years. Every year that I catch a female having babies, or even if I open a tub or one of these cages and I see babies in there, I'll start a TikTok. And I like to show people the processes I take, or the process I take doing it, right? Like it's a process. It's not, you just go in there. Me, I get tubs ready. I use gloves. I don't like to do all that nasty stuff with my hands. Sometimes I do, but it is pretty gross playing with after birth. And it does have a smell to it. It's not like roses and candy corn, that's for sure. It does have a smell to it, but at the end of the day, it's so rewarding because like I even got a video on my TikTok right now where just a few weeks ago, I had a litter and one of the babies was in the sack and I popped the sack in my hand and I got to see that animal take its first breath in my hand. So stuff like that is like, you know, you're just like, man, you don't get that with eggs, you know, so you don't get that experience unless it's a live birth animal. But there's a process to take to it. Takes me typically about 30 to 45 minutes to get the babies cleaned up, get them moved out, get mom soaked up. I soak mom, I get her cleaned up, get all the afterbirth off her. I show the process that I take of cleaning the cage. I do use alcohol water just to kill any kind of scent of the babies in there, just to get mom out of mom mode. Normally within a day or two, they start, you know, registering, okay, cool, my babies ain't here. So there's a process and it's fun. I really enjoy, it never gets old. It's just, you know, the only part that kills me is the waiting time because from the time they ovulate, it's like 3 months, you know, it's like 115 days, I think, from ovulation. So it's a long time that you go without seeing anything, but then you open that cage and it's so rewarding because you go from nothing to all these little worms moving around, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, this is just so cool. And then right away you get to see what you're working with, you know, like, and that in itself is just so rewarding, so rewarding.
Yeah. Now you breed multiple species, so you have pythons that lay eggs, and you have the boas that give live birth. Like now, trying to like take your boa hat off and try to be as least biased. Is it really that much more difficult either way, or is it just a different experience?
I would say eggs are a little bit easier for sure because you don't have nothing to clean up really, right? Like the egg snake comes out of the egg, and it's pretty much like self-sufficient, right? Like they kind of like, for me, it was, you just go like same thing. I keep the babies into their tub, like their incubator. As soon as they hatch, I'll keep once I pip. So once a snake pips, I cut the egg. And here's the reason why I do this. Some people are against this, but as soon as I see a pip, I cut eggs. And the reason for it is I've seen animals drown in eggs, right? Like I've personally seen snakes pip and never come out of the egg. They drown. So I will cut as soon as I see one pip. I don't pull the egg. I never pull the snake out, nothing like that. All I'm doing by cutting is giving the animal the best chance possible of survival. That's all I want to do is as a breeder. And I feel as a breeder, I'm responsible for that. Giving these animals, if I'm going to breed them and produce them, I'm responsible to give these animals the best chance at living as possible. So that's why I cut when I see pips. But it's not like, you know, they kind of come out and, you know, when they get in the incubating tub and all that, all they are is covered in pretty much pure light, because that's what I use. I just go wash them off, and it's pretty simple. Where the boas are a little bit, and I've even heard ball python breeders say that, or even egg breeders say that, that just breed species with eggs, that, hey, it is a lot less cleanup. It is it is a little bit easier, which I would kind of agree, because I don't feel I do as much work with the eggs as for sure as I do with the boas.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the dark side of it too.
Oh, there's always that.
You know,
the good, the bad, the ugly.
The bad egg is a bad egg, but I feel like I've talked to more boa breeders than over the years, and it's a stillborn snake out of the mom. That's rough, man. That's a nasty sight, you know, not like in a nasty, like bad, it's disgusting. It is, but it's almost devastating to the breeder, you know, because it's not just mom that lost the baby, it's you. And now you have to go in and see, like, I'm sure it was heartbreaking going through your big project. You've got it in your hands, but it's not fucking breathing.
Hey, I'm gonna be real with you. I can relate to that 100% last year, and I'm gonna be as real as I can, because I love my animals and I put a lot of hard work into my projects. I've cried over projects that didn't make it. Like last year, when the sharp snow glow when the sharp snow anery labyrinth didn't make it, and I was holding it in my hand, I was like, dude, that was a world's first. And then Jeff Ronnie came out a month later and produced the same exact animal and was like a world's first. I was like, I just produced that snake a month ago, but it was dead. Like, it was devastating, bro. Like, I for once was on a project that I was even beating bigger breeders on, and I ended up, dude, I put the snakes in the incubator to try to bring them back to life. That's how devastated I was. Like, come on, man, like, you got to come back. And just the reality is they didn't make it, and it was devastating, bro. It was. I went from jumping from joy to on my knees, like just staring at the babies once I realized they weren't moving, to like, damn, that's 4 years of hard work. Just dead. Like, it was very heartbreaking. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I dropped some tears, man, because I love my animals, and I put a lot of hard sweat and blood into these projects, man. And so when some things don't pan out, yes, dude, it is very, like, when they say boas will break your heart, boas will crush your heart. Like going through a bad relationship, bro. it's like, oh man, like, you know, but. And my wife, she even told me, she goes, when I seen that he went from jumping to, she's like, I left. She's like, I gave him some time. Like, I let him do his thing. I sat in front of that cage for a good hour, bro, and was just completely devastated. But it's the game we play, bro. It's just the reality. It's just the game we play when it comes to breeding anything, whether it's eggs, live birth, anything in that in general area. So.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is really what got me like really. I mean, you were the reason I got into fucking BOAs.
You know, a lot of people have been blaming me lately for them getting into reptiles. And they're like, hey, I never owned a reptile until I met you. I'm like, and they're like, this is your fault. I'm like, I just feel like you've been missing out. That's all. Like, I just introduced you to something you've been missing out on your whole life. Because there's been, you know, I've been getting that a lot lately, bro. Not even with just boas, but, you know, other species. They're like, hey, this is your fault. And I'm like, you know, but it does. It shows like some people that I'm meeting that are, you know, just now getting around it. They're like, dude, this stuff isn't like, it's really cool. It's a whole nother level. And that's what it's about with me, man. Like, it's not about just breeding or putting more hard work and time into these projects, but it's about educating people. It's about showing people like, hey, you were mistaught about these animals, or you just didn't understand them. And my end game is to teach people, to show them, to educate them, and to show them a side of it that they've never been taught. And then once that side's exposed, then they're like, oh man, this is a rabbit hole now. Like, you know, I've met a few people in the last few months, many people in the last few months that, you know, didn't even own an animal. And now they got 10 and they're like, hey, this is your fault. So I'm like, my bad. I'm just showing you a side of things that I've always loved. You know, and some of those people have come into my facility because it's close to the public. I don't let a lot of people in here, but there are a few that I trust to come in here. And when they do, they're like, dude, this is insane. And I'm like, this is my heaven on earth, man. You know, like, you know, I am faith-based, and I believe with all my heart that God blessed me with the gift to be able to love animals. And it gave me the ability to chase my dream, man. Like, he planted this dream into me before I was born. And I believe that with all my heart. And my mom always told me, I see you doing something with animals, and here I am. I do it full time. This is my full-time job. I breed and sell animals for a living. That's what I do. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to do that. And then not only that, we've built such an amazing team around us, because everything takes a team, right? Like, it's hard to do anything by yourself. Look at you guys. You guys got 3 people clicked up, triple threat Retics. You guys are a team, right? We're doing the same thing over here. We're building a team, because teamwork makes the dream work. When you build that team, you're gonna grow so much more, right? And that's just where we're at now. Is we're just growing more and more. The more of a team we build, the more people that are getting involved, that truly really want to understand these animals more, really wanting to love them more, like starting to gain such a passion for them. And it's just amazing watching that, for sure.
Okay, hold on. I want to hit a pause because we got a shit ton of comments or questions in the comments. We'll make it brief and quick. Patrick, have you ever had a mama eat her babies?
Never. I've never seen that until just recently. I seen somebody post a video on Instagram like 3 days ago where mom was legit eating her baby. I've never experienced that. Never.
Okay, well, hold on. I want to bookmark that. Let me get these other questions out of the way, because that gets into a conversation. Lee, I don't know if you're on my side or Bill, where you guys are, but we were talking about snakes just in general cannibalizing each other if they're in a desperate need for food. Todd said,
I've seen that.
Good looking room, Patrick. Freedom Breeder Rex? ?
Yes, freedom breeders. Yep.
Okay. And I think that is all the questions.
Thank you on the compliments, for the kind words for the room too. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question, then I already forgot it. Oh, wait, no. Now I remember. Okay, so boa mom ate a baby. Now, I think anacondas do this. At least I remember hearing it. Do red tails also eat like their slugs too?
I've heard of that. I've heard of them eating their slugs. The snake I hear the most of eating anything is hognose. I hear hognose are terrible. I hear hognose, but with boas, you know, now I've seen the worst thing I've seen breeding boas is a female bite one of my males. So before I started using freedom breeders, and this is why I got away from sliding glass cages. I used to use those a lot, like bow fields. I used to use those a lot, and then I started using the method I call the backdoor method, right? Like if the female was facing one way, I would sneak the male in the opposite way, because I learned the very first year of breeding that when I threw my male straight in there, I had a female bite my male and wrap him. We were able to get them off, and we were able to get them separated, and everything was all good, right?
It's full panic mode, though, huh? When that
Bro,
happens, it's full panic.
Oh, you best believe
there.
I jumped in. I was like, sticking my hand in there, trying to like, hey, stop.
Dude, I took him into the backyard, started hosing him down, put him in a bucket, started hosing him down. Dude,
nah, you freak out.
When a big snake starts wrapping, you can't fight them. You can't get them to wrap, dude. Like, you just have to get them to realize that they're not on food.
Oh, for sure. And the first time that happened to me, I was like, hey, now I'm going to use what I call the back door, and with their face was facing whatever way, I would always slide the opposite way in and bring them in through the back. It takes about 3 to 5 seconds for the female to register that's not food. As soon as she would register he's not food, she would be perfectly cool. Now what I do, because I have front opening cages, is I take my hat and I tap the female and I let her know, hey, we're not food. I put my hat kind of over her head and just toss the male in. Now, not everybody needs to. Some people don't do that. But after having those experiences, I just don't take chances no more. All it took was one bad experience for me to be like, hey, I don't want that to happen again. I got some really big females, and let's just be real. My males are 3 feet going to 6-7 foot females. Yeah. You get a big female to bite a male, and it could be a bad day. And some of these animals are really expensive animals. So, and then not only that, I love my animals. I don't want to see my animals get, beat up by a female, So I'm like, I do take precautions when I introduce my females. I don't just throw my boas in there and be like, oh, here you go. I'm very, very, I monitor them. I'm very on top of monitoring them when I do the introduction for breeding. It's not just I'm throwing them in there and there you go. I do that with my king snakes, especially those guys, my false water cobras. The only thing I don't really do that with is my ball pythons, because I've yet to see that kind of aggression with them. But everything else I pretty much watch when I introduce. I mean, I still watch my ball pythons, but it's definitely not like colubrids or boas, that's for sure.
Yeah. Or until you pair them fucking retics. The female is
Dude, I went to clean the male last week and he bit himself. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, dude. That's why I just don't stick my hand in a retic cage, bro. I'm good. I use hooks.
Tab training for sure with retics. Tab training and hook. You're not a bitch. You're just doing what you need to be doing.
Oh no, hey, I'm a bitch, bro. Because I didn't try to get bit by retic.
No. But for real, because I am too. No one wants to get bit by a retic, or no one wants to get bit. Period. Let's be real.
Let's just be real.
My thing is I had a female that was like super bitey and would hit the cage, or she would like bite the hook or bite the paper towel roll or whatever, and she kept fucking her teeth up and getting ingrown fucking like teeth. So you have all that shit. You got vet bills, or you have to get in there yourself and dig them out. It's like I don't like being bit because I had to deal with a shitty experience with that snake, and I don't want to deal with that anymore. So that's like my bigger thing. Other than not wanting to be bit, I also don't want that shit to happen to my snake either. Like that was the worst experience, because it just was an ongoing issue for like 2 years.
Right. And people don't realize that snakes they don't have legs, so they use their face, right? So like they can damage their face. If like there was one female that I would literally have to cover her cage just to get her to stop, because I didn't want her to damage herself. And then a big thing too is when they bite, I try not to pull back because it breaks teeth.
Yeah.
So definitely there's precautions to take when dealing with these animals. Yeah. I always use my hat. I always make sure I have a hat on when I'm cleaning cages, and I take it off and I tap. That's my number one thing. I tap them, and 9 times out of 10, or I would even say 7 times out of 10, I do get a snake that bites my hat, and I'm like, man, that could have been my hand. So just things I do. That's just something I've been doing for years. And it does. It prevents me from getting hurt and the snake getting hurt.
You taking a bite from the falsies yet?
I took a bite from a baby and it didn't feel good. So I prevent at all costs to get bit by my big ones. I use hooks. The beautiful thing is once they're out, they're puppy dogs, man. It's just getting them out. Like if I open especially if I go like 2 weeks without feeding them, or a week, because right now I'm pairing them. So like they haven't been fed in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And dude, like anytime I walk by, they're both just like bam, 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 hitting the cage. I'm like, and they're hooding up, and I'm like, y'all evil, man. So when I pull them out, I will use a hood because I'm defrosting rats right now. So tomorrow I'll pull them to feed them, and then pair them again in about 2 weeks, week and a half. But when it comes to dealing with those, same thing. I use a hook. I get them out because I got bit by a baby and it bruised my finger. I'm like, I can't even imagine what an adult would feel like, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure they got 5 times the bite.
That shit's for the birds.
Yeah, no, when I pair my retics, I do the backdoor method. I mean, even then, sometimes, like in the beginning is when it's sketchy with the female, at least like the way I do it, like down to a science. Like the first, like 2 weeks of pairing when I start the breeding process is definitely the scariest. Usually around weeks 2 and 3, the female's like not wanting to eat anyway. So then the food response thing is kind of out. Don't have to worry about it too much.
Oh,
No,
Bill,
I don't. I'm not a BOA guy at all.
I won't take that personal. I promise, Bill. I promise I won't take that personal.
He was telling me it was personally because of you and the way you talk about BOAs. He's like, yeah, fuck that shit. So
hey, I mean,
he said it was
I see
you.
people like them and everything like that. I see why you like them. They're just not for me personally.
And that's respectable, man. Like 100%. Everybody has their own niche in this industry, right? Like not everybody does like BOAs. Not everybody likes retics. Not everybody likes berms. I have everything. I have berms. I have retics. I have BOAs. I have colubrids. I love a little bit of everything in my collection. But I get it 100% that, everybody has their own little niche. And I don't hate that by any means. I actually think that's really cool because when you have that niche, you're going to take more pride in what you're doing. You're going to focus more into it. You're not going to just be breeding stuff to breed stuff, right? Like when you have that niche and you have that passion, you're going to put a lot more love and care into what you're doing. More selective too, as well, than just pairing stuff to pair it, right? So that's 100% respect that.
I like what you're doing. It seems like the passion's behind the project. It's not just, it's not about money to you. It's the passion is first. And then, if the money comes, great. But, you can really see, and that's how I am. Everything we've picked out, all of our projects, especially the ones that I'm passionate about, I can't wait to bring into fruitation. So
exactly.
And I don't care about anything other than seeing those babies and producing them.
That's it.
That's it.
And anybody that knows me personally will tell you, I will always tell them it's the love of the animal. The money is always a bonus. I never put the money before my animals. Never. And anybody that's watching this that personally knows me knows I will preach that until the day I die. Do I get to do this for a living? Yes. But I do that because I make money, right? But I don't put the money before the love. And that's why I've gotten to the point where I can do this full time, because I put the love before everything. And then everything after that is just a bonus. I breed for myself first. Everything else is, then I'll sell off. But I tell people all the time, I breed for me, my projects, and then everything else after that is just a blessing, whatever comes out of that. But for me, 100%, it has to be about the love. If you're in this, it has to be about the love of the animals.
I absolutely agree 100%. That's awesome, man. I love hearing that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm cheating because I fell in love with my Asian water monitor. So it's like I'm not just a retic guy anymore. It seems. I feel like I'm cheating on him. Feels wrong. It feels weird.
I got big iguanas, man. I got my big green male right here in front of me. I got my female rhino iguana. I love my iguanas, man. Like they were at the show with me over the weekend. Same thing, man. I'm not a monitor person, just because those guys are very intelligent. And you got to really be on your toes with those guys. But I love my iguanas. I am an iguana guy. I love my big iguanas. So,
if I had to do BOA, answering your question, Tara, I would do IMG Motleys.
That's it. That's IMG anything. That's nice.
Madagascar tree BOA. That would be the BOA if I did any BOAs.
Oh, yeah. I'm forgetting about that. What about Jamaican BOAs? I might do Jamaican BOAs.
Jamaican boas. Those are pretty cool. The ground boas are pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff out there
Plus,
for
when you're
sure.
in
I mean,
Jamaica, they'll tell you there's no snakes here. There's no snakes here. There's no sharks in the water either. Let's go out scuba diving. There's no sharks out there.
I'm
Yeah.
good. If there's an ocean, look, if there's an ocean, there's sharks in it. I don't care where you're at.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Amber did call that, by the way. Your IMG Molly comment.
Who did?
Amber. She said if something was going to pull you in, that would be it.
Oh, IMG Mollies do it. 9 times out of 10, IMG Mollies do it.
Yeah,
So,
I
it's
like
like a
Patrick,
black
snakes.
snake.
I'm not.
Hold on. Time out. I want to go way back because I got sidetracked and side quest and we asked 50 different fucking questions. Do you guys take a Central American boa and pair it to a Colombian boa to shrink the overall size of the snake?
I refuse to. If I got pure Central Americans, I'm going to keep everything pure. I won't do it to make it small. I won't do it because, again, man, for me, it's about the love. I like the Central Americans because of the size, because of the quality. And then once you start doing that, you start messing with percentages on the low cow or percentages on the dwarf. For me, I got enough Colombian stuff where I can keep that going. And then I got enough Central American stuff where I can keep that going. So for me, I don't need to cross nothing. I like my Central Americans for what they are, and I like my Colombians for what they are. And therefore, it's easy for me to keep that separated because each has their own niche to them, right? Like, I love the Central Americans for size and their quality, and then I love my Colombians for their size and for the variety of mutations there are out there. So I would never personally cross those. I know people that do. But I would personally never cross those just because I like each one for its own individual self.
So do people do that, though, the way that we do the super dwarfs and mainland?
Yeah, they do it, you know, and it's, you know, people get finicky about it, man. When you start crossing, you know, they don't call them BCCs no more. They call them BCs, like certain Guynas when you put those into, you know, Colombian. Now, that's something I would do because I'm telling you right now, I've seen like stun glows with BC blood influenced in them, and insane what BC. But some people that are locality guys are going to be like, hey, you're trash for that, you know. I never done it, but if I had the ability to, I probably wouldn't hesitate to do it because I've seen, one, it would be for selective breeding, and two, I've seen the quality of animals that come when you add that pure BC blood to the animals. It just changes the game 100%. But that is one cross that I've liked and I've always liked. And I'm just like, hey, you know what? I don't hate on that. Like, I think it's being done for all the right reasons. And, you know, you're just trying to advance your projects. Nothing wrong with advancing your projects at all.
Yeah, we do that shit all the time. We'll take like a Karampa and put it into a project to bring that Karampa pattern or whatever you're searching for out of the locality in.
Right.
And I think I'm surprised that nobody's really specialized in that yet. Because you are right. You put Suriname blood in something.
It's going to change the game. Yeah, it's going to change the game.
Insane enhancer, bro. Insane.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. It's just, there's just so much pure locality. Nobody wants to do it, right? I haven't seen people do it for about 6 or 7 years now. You know, there were a couple bigger breeders that I knew that were doing it. I actually bought a hypo cross from a BC, and it was 100% head sharp. Unfortunately, when I bred her, she got, one of the slugs went sideways, and she couldn't push it. I was out of town working. I came back, and she unfortunately was dead because the slug had blocked her cloaca, and it basically killed her. And I was pretty bummed out because I raised that girl for 4.5 years to breed her. Not only that, like, these are my animals. I never like to see one of my animals die, but that's the risk we take breeding anything. It's just the real. I've had ball pythons go egg bound and die. I've had boas, you know, die from breeding. I've had boas give birth and then 3 days later, just 1 minute I'm holding them, and the next minute I open their tub 3 hours later and they're belly up. Like, it's just, you don't know the risk. You're taking a risk every time you pair an animal together. It doesn't matter what it is. But I was really excited to see the outcome of the sharp sun glows that would have came from that litter. And then after that, haven't really found any more with that same cross. I just don't see them around as much no more.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on the point, maybe that's kind of like the happy accident, even though the Retic community is kind of the pain in the ass. The happy accident is we're not super afraid to use localities and try to make shit smaller. And the happy accident is we're a little bit more open to mixing these bloodlines and stuff to seeing how much better we can make things. And it's not as frowned upon. I mean, there's still locality people, but they're not like, oh, you suck for not doing that. They're probably also doing that while doing locality stuff because there's only a certain amount of lines of localities for us to work with. So I think that's kind of like the happy accident where it seems like, I guess, BOAS, carpets, a few other species where it's like the locality snobs. And it's like how much of like cool shit is being left out on the table because you're kind of being overly snobbish about something only because you kind of have the numbers to be snobbish about it. You have way more lines and numbers of these said localities. But maybe who knows what they're kind of missing out on by not being able to use them against and with each other.
And speaking of hybrids, I don't know if you guys seen this, and this could just be me, but this is just my opinion. I seen the guy produce the first burn balls last year or the year before, and a lot of people are giving this guy crap. I'm like, dude, those are some of the most beautiful, amazing snakes I've ever seen. And I get where people coming from, breeding a berm to a ball python, but I'm like, dude, the outcome of that is like, they're just insane looking. I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, I would have never thought that's what a berm to a ball python would look like. I would never expected them to look that good, you know? But again, it just, some people are like, oh, why are you breeding something that should have never, oh, you're playing God. And you know, and to a point, some people are probably trying to play God, you know, which is something I would never try to do in my life because I know what that gets you. But I personally, I'm not hating the guy on it, but I'm also, it's not something I think I would do. I was like joking last year. I was like, I'd probably do that, but I wouldn't in reality. I would not breed a berm to my ball pythons. But I do like the way they look. I was like, wow, that thing is actually really cool looking. But I can see where people are like, oh, you're trying to play God here. You're trying to do this here. Because in natural, let's just be real. And the wild, you will never see that. You will never see a ball python breed to a berm. It's just, that is what you would call a man-made mutation for sure.
I'm sure we'll have another hybrids episode at some point for everyone to kind of crash out. I think there's levels to it.
Look. I'm coming around with some fucking hybrids, but fuck Capondros. No.
Hey, easy. Easy.
And I knew Levi was going to be touchy on that because we've had conversation about hybrids, so I know how he feels about hybrids. He's very sensitive when it comes to hybrids, bro.
I was just gonna say, there's levels. I think there's levels and lines going across. And to be honest with you, I think berm balls is like a line. Carpondros is a line, like where you're kind of crossing something. But I think like BOA species, they're so close enough. They're in the same family. They're
exactly subspecies. They're subspecies. Yeah.
It's different messing with that. Retics, they're subspecies. Messing with that's a little bit like doing that is a little bit different. And even with the carpets, they're subspecies of each other's to a certain extent. I'm sure there's a line there. It's a little bit harder of a line for me to understand and find because of carpets, but that's different. But like burn balls, that's a pretty drastic, that you are walking this weird fence of like, am I playing God? What am I creating here? But also flip side, it's like there's that little boy watching Jurassic Park for the first time, like, holy fuck, I just made something like holy shit.
I guess that's what it's like, right? You're making new stuff, bro. You're making stuff that.
Like, holy shit, I just made something like, what does that look like? I don't know. Let's make it. Can we make it? Holy shit.
See,
so there's a little bit of that.
After doing that episode on hybrids and being in this hybrid group, I've come around on some things where I'll shut the hell up because I don't feel like dealing with them. But I'm gonna stand 10 toes and nobody's gonna change my mind. Capondros are whack. Leave carpets and fucking green tree pythons alone. And the colubrids, I still am gonna stand 10 toes. You have way too many irresponsible people making hybrids that don't document them correctly. I don't give a fuck what anybody in that group or any hybrid breeder has to say. I've seen the irresponsibility real time in Arizona. I've seen somebody has brought me a hybrid and be like, oh, this is a pure corn snake. No, it's fucking not. It's mixed. And you are misinformed. And that over time, yes, okay, an immediate hybrid, I get it. cool. You can tell the difference right off the rip. But as that starts to devolve and you get other bloods into things, somebody's going to end up fucking up a project. And no, I don't give a fuck. Everything else, fair game. Congratulations on the burn balls. They're cool. I digress on everything else. But those two, I will crash the fuck out on.
So you're telling me for Christmas you want a hybrid corn snake, king snake, milk snake? Got you, bro. I'll make sure you get one for Christmas.
Fucking
yeah.
So many, like a 5.5, like a 5.5 for sure. And then like 5.5 with burn ball. He would like a 6.6 of the Carpondros if you can make that happen as well.
This is good.
Yeah, if y'all want to give them over for Christmas, I mean,
hey, but
go ahead. I mean, it is what it is. They can stay here forever and never be produced and just be taken care of.
Hey, they're beautiful though, bro. Like I've seen some colubrids out there that were hybrids and they blew my mind. Colors, patterns.
They're cool. They're cool. Like I'll give the hybrid group that all day and tomorrow. Like they're cool looking. But again, you get like there's a reason that it was so gate kept, and that's one of the gate kept things that were properly gate kept to prevent catastrophic things from happening in the future. And again, as you know, time goes on, I understand retics, I understand berms at this point, I understand the things that we can't really import. Eventually, we're going to get there no matter what, right? Like there's not a choice. Eventually it will have to happen to bring in new blood on the scale that we're breeding like that I will not argue that any day of the week, right? That's fair. But it's like North American colubrids, like why But this is a fucking hybrids episode. This is a BOAS versus Retics episode.
I just wanted to mess with you a little bit. I know how you feel about that subject, man. So
we gotta poke him a little bit. We gotta poke him, give him a little stir out there for a second. Like, you gotta get that engine hot. Gotta make sure it still runs. Episode. You know. What do we think about?
I hate you, Boz.
I love ligers. It's a mix between a lion and a tiger.
They're pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the hybrids episode. and BOAS, I get it. I get where BOAS are coming from too, like not wanting to see things crossed, and you know their argument and I don't know if I would call them snobs, but like the purest sticklers for Suriname, Guyanas, and you know, Argentina BOAS. I don't know. Is Argentina compatible with anything else?
I mean, I've seen people cross them with BIs. There was a guy, I can't remember his name. He did it with Motley, I think. Yeah, he did it with Motley, I think, one time. Ted something. I can't remember his name. He was from Florida, but he ended up crossing an Argentine to a Motley, I believe. And hey, I'll say they came out pretty nice looking. But a lot of people like to keep that stuff pure, you know, like the Max Pinks and stuff like that. They love, like, I would never crossbreed any of that stuff, like especially Max Pinks, or, you know, because you got like certain Guyanan lines and certain lines that are like, you know, they got certain peaks to them on their saddles, or, you know, stuff like that. So people breed to selective, or they line breed to and selective breed those animals to make, like I was saying earlier with the patterns and stuff. People will do that with the BCs to be able to make the reds better, to be able to make the patterns more pronounced as far as peaks and stuff like that. So I mean, I get the aspect of why they do what they're doing. So
yeah, and I mean, going back to that hybrids episode, you could argue that BOA to BOA is more of an intergrade than it is a hybrid.
I mean, yeah, it just depends on who's looking at it, right? Perspective. It's gonna come down to perspective. Some people are gonna have a different perspective than that. Like BCI, so BCs, the burner, the Surinames and the Guyanans and stuff. Those are the true red-tailed boas. Those are like true red-tailed boas. And then the Colombian stuff is all subspecies. Colombian, Central American, all that stuff. That's all a subspecies to the true red tails. But the true red tail is actually like the big dog of all the boas. That is the true red tail boa. I even, correct people when they're like, "Oh, look at this red tail." I'm like, "That's Colombian. That's not red tail." Like just because there is a difference. Some people are like, "Oh, it's the same." No, it's not the same thing. Like when you're really into the game, you'll know that there is a big difference between true red tail and a Colombian.
Patrick, your snob is showing.
No.
What happened?
No.
I'm just kidding. I said your snob is showing.
Watch me trigger Lee. A super dwarf and mainland are the same thing. It's a retake. see, there it is. They are
retics. They are reticulated pythons for sure. They are. Now it's a mix.
Which one's
it's a mix
smarter,
between Supilitrii and Jampanianus.
Which one's what?
Which one's, when you're comparing the two, which one's smarter, retics or boas, do you think?
Retics all day, bro. I own retics, and I'm telling you right now, I feel like my retics plot on me. My boas don't plot on me. I open their cage. If they want to bite me, they're going to bite me. Retics, they watch me, man. Like, I've watched my retics watch me. I've seen them, like, their pupils move and everything. They'll follow me. Like, retics scare me a little bit more than boas. Because retics are a lot more intelligent. And I've owned quite a few retics in the last 12 years. And I'm not a specialist or nothing, but just from studying probably the 12 that I have owned in the last 12 years, compared to all the boas I've owned, there is a big intelligence difference between boas and retics for sure. I like boas. They seem a lot more chiller, and they seem they are definitely less active. Two, they don't seem like, I don't feel like when I open my boa's tub that it's plotting to take me out. When I open my retics cage, I feel like that thing is plotting to take me out, bro. Like, and I'm just being real. I'm not dissing them, but they are very intelligent, and they it's like they're waiting for the perfect opportunity to just. And I'm not saying every retic's like that, but that's the feeling they give me, right? Like, I feel like my retics are like, "Come on, bubs." Well, I'm like, "Nah, I'm good."
I got
well, I mean, it's a size of it. It's a sign of intelligence in their sense, because what they're doing, if you're in a breeding type situation and stuff, and you're not like handling them every day, and that's not like a regular part of their schedule, and their regular part of their schedule when that cage opens up is food, guess what? They've trained themselves. That's opportunity. Every time that thing opens, that's opportunity. I will say, I used to shit on people for this, like from being a kid, even till about like 6 months ago, until I started doing it. I think there's certain snakes, my retics I did it with, I started feeding them outside of their cage, just in their tub, just kind of as an experiment. I had extra tubs. I could just do it, all this other shit. So I started doing it. They stopped associating me opening up the cage with food, so that like there's still a little bit of that, but it's not flying out the cage. It's not flying, hitting the glass with their mouth full or anything like that. That turns on when I take them out and then I put them in that tub. If I take them out and just hold them, that thing never turns on. But as soon as I put them in that tub, now the food's like, oh, this is happening. They've been like trained. They were able to pick that up, and it's completely changed being able to go and handle them. It's made it a lot easier to handle them because of that. And so now I've stuck to doing it. And I used to laugh at people. I'm like, that's a joke. And a lot of times you're doing it with the ball python and shit, and that's actually usually causing a lot more harm than it is good when you're doing that with ball pythons. But with these guys, it works. It trains that kind of hunger strike aggression out of the cage a little bit. It curbs it quite a bit.
And I will agree with that. No, I will agree with that. I tell, and I've told people that, like, I will never deny that whatsoever. I got too many snakes to be able to take all my snakes out, so that's why mine do. Exactly. I have roughly 500 snakes in this building right now. And for me, it's harder to take them out. But I tell people all the time, there is truth to an animal having a food response when you feed it constantly in its cage, 100%. And I will agree with Amber. I've had boas, so not all my boas, and I don't see it as much anymore as I used to when I first got into boas. But I have had boas where I'll be holding them and out of nowhere they'll just bite me, and I'll be like, dude, like, you know, like, where'd that come from? I got a carpet python that does that though. Like, I'll be holding my carpet python, and for no reason she'll just bite me. For no reason. She'll be sitting there letting me hold her. She'll be acting right. She'll go under my arm and bam. And I'm like, all right, cool. I wasn't expecting that, homeboy. But, you know, and I've had boas do it, but I've had maybe 3 or 4 boas do it in 7 years, 8 years that I've been breeding. But I have seen that, and there is a lot of truth to them having a food response when you feed in the cage. Me personally, I used to pull out my animals and do that too. And I had a female regurgitate one time, and after that, I was like, hey, I'll just deal with the food response. So now what I do with my boas, as soon as I open the cage, if I'm not feeding them, when I'm going to clean them, I do take my hat and I tap their head. I let them know, like, I'll tap them, probably about 3 or 4 times. And then I'll grab their tail while I'm tapping them. And once I grab their toe, that instantly shuts off. They're like, oh, I'm not getting fed, So, because typically when I do feed, take my tongs, I open the tub and right in and then right out, So that's how quick they got that response of, oh, as soon as the cage opens, I'm being fed. That's why I take my hand and I tap to prevent that, to try to shut that off instantly, because they have that food response for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm probably at my limit of being able to do the pulling out and feeding in a separate tub. If I get a couple more, that's done. They're all feeding in the cage. I'm back to dealing with that. I'm at 10 I'm at 10 right now of the Retics. It's like, that's a lot of tubs to go and get and source and stuff. So.
That is, and those are big tubs.
Not as many as you'd think, actually. The one I had earlier when we were backstage is the biggest one I have, and she does go in a bigger tub. I have 2 other ones that go in bigger tubs that probably don't need them. But I have a female that's 3 or 4 years older than her. That's a pure female, and she's only 6 feet, 6.5 feet, maybe max. She's really tiny compared to Sylvia. So
right.
I mean, she's really easy to deal with, but she's being real moody lately.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes I'll show people my big ball python, and she's 4.5 feet. I'm like, oh, this is small. They're like, and people that don't see snakes are like, that's not small. I'm like, why don't you look at my 14-foot Burmese python that's 75 pounds? I'm like, that's small. I was like,
there it is.
There's my berm right there. Yep. There's, I pull her out and then I pull out a ball python. I'm like, oh, cool, little sad boy.
Yeah.
Such a big size difference, man.
Yeah.
So,
no, absolutely.
Compared to with your collection, Patrick, you have more berms than you do retics, right?
I do. I have 4 berms. Yep.
So
going on 5, I'm picking up in the 5th one.
I know we're going to do an episode on this totally, but just getting your opinion, what do you think's the more intelligent, a retic or a berm?
Retics, man. I would still say retics. My berms ain't the smartest sometimes. But I will say this. My pie berm, he's probably the smartest of all my berms. And what he likes to do is he'll legit hide under his bedding, and he goes straight into predator mode. When it's full time, I have to literally take my hook and dig through his bedding, because sometimes he'll completely bury himself just to be waiting. Like, I will never just stick my hand in that dude's cage, because I never know where he's at sometimes. I'm like, he's planning on me. But for the most part, retics are very intelligent. I think they're a lot more intelligent than what most people think. As far as other species, as far as any snake in my building right now, I would say my retics are the most intelligent snakes out of anything that I own.
Yeah,
I'd say my
waters.
They come say, I was gonna say it's hands between my false waters and my retics, because my false waters are hell of intelligent too. They are extremely intelligent.
I was just about to say, I think we're going to have to get to dry mark on false water cobras and cobra species. It's before we start really getting into some serious conversation and competition with retic and intelligence.
Well, hands down, if you want my personal opinion, this is me from the research I did. King cobras are hands down the smartest snake to exist. From my understanding, from research that I've read, from scientists that I've watched that have studied them, cobras are hands down the most intelligent snake on the earth. And that's just from the research I have read. But I would definitely say that, out of a non-venomous retic, retics are up there, man. They're definitely up there.
I feel like retics get so attached to food shit. That is not all retics are about. They are intelligent. They're trying to scheme on how to get out, what to get on, how to get there. I'll tell the story again. I'll probably say it 100 more times. So I'm sorry for everyone that's listening, but I had a baby that the one I was telling you I could hold in my arms like a baby. She broke out of her cage, and her room is completely opposite. And she's been in my room. I've held her in there, all that stuff for hours and all that. She broke out. She found me through the house and ended up sleeping underneath my head, underneath my pillow all night. Like that's what a retic will do. It wasn't plotting for food. It was trying to like find me. I see that a lot. They're noticing what's going on in the room. Like the one that I have is scared. Like he's scared. He's watching. Like, is this guy a predator? Is he coming to eat me? Is he not? You know?
Right.
I have other ones like raptors. They're checking every single square inch of the tub lid or cage door, whatever they're in. They're checking every square inch. What's open? What's an opportunity just to get out and go check this thing out over there? I feel like they're very much like aware of their surroundings. Will they eat? Agree. That's the great thing about them, but they're not like, they sometimes just want to explore and get out and see what the fuck is that thing across the room.
Yeah.
Well, the recognition of you as a keeper is the other cool thing. You know, I mean, I come into the room with Sylvia and I'll sit down, she'll be free roaming and she'll see me, her head will go up and she'll come right over to my lap. I mean, it blows me away every time.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Well, we got to see that at the show firsthand. When I would pass apotheosis over to Lola or Ruby over to somebody, actually, it was both at the same time. Like, were you there for that? Mm-hmm. When the kid was holding Ruby and Lola was holding apotheosis, and I walked through the both of them, and both of them immediately wanted to come to me.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, I was just walking by. There was no like, I don't know. I fuck around a lot. I might have like, tickled under the chin or some shit, but they wanted to come with me. Like they knew this is their safe spot.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy that a snake can have that much of intelligence. It really is. It's pretty crazy.
Well, there's more and more studies coming out. Like we really need to stop with the intelligence comparisons with the studies that are coming out. And I mean, this is coming from like Colubrid and Colubroid Radio. This is coming from studies in the UK, studies that are being done at ASU. Reptiles in general are so already like seen as just like these low level intelligence animals, and the more and more that money's being dumped into it, the more and more that is just being thrown out the window. And I mean, this comes all the way down to like what we consider to be the least intelligent, a ball python, all the way up to like the most intelligent, a cobra. But the studies that are being done in the UK are proving ball pythons out of the wild are actually a very, very intelligent species. And I'm going to emphasize
for their environment, what they have to do
out of the wild are a very intelligent species. All right. I'm going to again emphasize out of the wild, not bred in captivity, are smart.
What happened?
Same thing with cobras. What do you mean?
But here's the cool part about that though, bro. And this is just one thing, me observing my boas, right? I've learned a lot just watching my boas. I know when they're ready to breed, when they're swelling, all this stuff. And the thing that always amazes me is how these animals are captive bred, never experienced any kind of wild in their entire life, but are mimicking the same exact, follicle growth, nesting. They're doing everything that a boa would do in the wild. And these animals have never seen the wild. So when I watch my boas and then I go and study how they're acting in the wild, I'm like, dude, how do the boas know that? How do they know, hey, I need to nest? Or how do they know, oh, I'm going to have a bad litter, I'm going to do it on the hot side? Or if I'm going to have a good litter, I'm going to do it on the cold side. How do they know, oh, I'm going to go dig out this corner and have my babies in the corner? Like, it amazes me how these animals mimic the things that the wild animals are doing, and they've never seen the wild in their life. And that just goes to show instincts, right? They're just born with a natural instinct that whether they're captive or wild, they're just going to mimic some of the things that a wild caught animal would do.
Yeah, I love that. I love the natural instincts that just are embedded in the DNA.
Exactly.
Every creature, really. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm gonna call it. It's a tie. I'm sorry, guys. It's a tie. Retics and BOAS, it's a tie.
I would have to.
There's
agree
no
with
winner
that one,
here
'cause
today.
again, like
No
I
winner
got
here today.
I got back into the colubrids. I mean, colubrids have always been a consistent thing for me, but like the one thing I wish I had kept more consistent and probably should have kept the passion alive on is boas. I really do. Like, I don't regret getting out of ball pythons. I don't regret some of the colubrid projects I've let go of. I regret letting go of boas. Like, I deeply regret that one. I should have kept that going instead of just offloading everything, at least keeping a handful of projects. But I've always had a boa in my collection, but I let everything go, and I definitely kicked myself in the ass.
Hey, well, the beautiful part about that is we can help you with that problem, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, after that last expo and some of the shit you're pushing out, and dude, it really hit me when the carbons came out. When the carbons hit, I was like, I was like, son of a bitch.
That's that black-eyed Henry, man. That's that black-eyed Henry with VPI.
I think fucking carbons are better than any snow out there, and that's every species. That every species across the board.
I will admit, I think like, next, a close second to Retics, of course, is BOAS when it comes to snows, for sure. I think it's like Retics and then BOAS for snows. I mean, the snow glow and shit like that was like the first snow shit that I probably fell in love with. Like, I can remember that, like, 18, 19. Of course, I hadn't seen a snow retic at that particular point in time in my life, but once I did, that moved up.
Hurry up and ask it, Amber, so we can wrap this thing up.
Yeah, Amber, God.
Amber will be our wrap-up question.
All right, Amber, wrap it up for us. But again, it is a tie. I think they're both awesome and amazing creatures, and everyone should get either one or all of them or both. Get everything.
I agree.
Oh, I knew this was going to happen, Amber. I almost asked this question too. I almost asked it for you specifically.
Oh, yes. Yes. This is one question I love because this is something that I have been asked for years.
Perfect.
And this is something I've never had any issues. Obviously, a lot of my boas stay on this side of my building and a lot of my pythons stay on that side of the building. But yes, they're all in one big building. My building is just one big building. I don't have dividers or different rooms. I do have one different room, but it's for my geckos. So we have a room that stays about 72 degrees. That's for all our cooler stuff, our geckos, our axolotls, stuff like that. But here in the main room, my boas, these are all my boas on one side and my pythons are on the other side. But I do have probably about a good 10 boas on the other side, not far from my pythons. And I've had zero issues. Now, I also wear gloves and I sanitize in between touching each snake. Try to, for the most part. Sometimes, you're in a hurry cleaning and you just go. But for the most part, I'll come to this side, clean all my boas, take my gloves off, switch off, go to the other side. But at the end of the day, I've had zero issues keeping boas and ball pythons in the same room. Zero issues with that. I know some people are anal about that. And I know most people that breed boas, their whole building or their whole facility is just boas. Some people that breed pythons, their whole facility is just pythons. But I keep both. We do. So here's the beautiful thing, that one thing we do over here that I don't see a lot of people do is that we definitely test our boas. Every one of our adult boas have been tested. We got paperwork, tests. Everything is tested for IBD, other viruses. So we go through and we spend the time and the money to test all our boas. So all our stuff is tested. I got like a folder in my office that has all the testings from every boa that's in here. I've even tested boas because people are like, hey, can you test that boa? Absolutely. And I've never had a boa come back positive.
My man.
Hell yeah.
My man. There you go.
All right. On that note.
Well, hey, thank you, man. This was a great episode. I like it. I liked
Absolutely.
it a lot. Honestly, I want to have another one because I want to get on a deep dive of the whole breeding process for boas. I still don't fully understand it, and I have some more questions about genetics and stuff like that. So we'll definitely have to have you on to educate us a little bit, or especially me, educate me a little bit more on everything.
Let's do one about November, October, November. That's when I start pairing. I can actually walk you guys through the process that I take to start pairing what I do. I can show you my building, my cycling. I can walk you guys through my whole process. So if you want to get me back on here in like October, November, I could walk you through the whole process of me cooling my building, how I introduce, what I'm pairing, how I think I got 30 females going this year. So I can walk you through all that stuff.
Hell yeah. Maybe we can line that up and promote the show and stuff at the same time. So,
and that'd be pretty cool, man. That'd be pretty cool.
I got you, man. I got you. Let's do it.
I appreciate you guys.
All right. Hey, thank you. Hey, like, share, subscribe. Thank everyone for coming on, talking. Your comments were amazing. Let's keep it up. Have a good one. See you next week.
I appreciate y'all guys. Yep. Later.